Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. I am super excited about today's interview. We are joined today by Nigel Battle, who is a full-time content creator who manages 2 YouTube channels. After years of being an entertainer on stage, he took his talents to YouTube and went all in at the beginning of 2020, which is a common theme, it seems to be, to launch his variety channel. Exactly 1 year after he started his first channel, he began his second channel in hopes to teach new creators all that he learned while growing his main channel. Nigel is an actor, recording artist, YouTuber, and content creator coach with a passion for music, movies, and all things content creation. Nigel, how you doing today?
I am so good, Dusty. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. And I will say this, if you listening to this, and Nigel, for you as well, if you guys hear some screaming and some giggling, we are recording this podcast at a much later time than I normally do because myself, I had some family obligations yesterday when we had our originally scheduled interview. And so if you hear my daughters giggling and laughing, we have a school performance planned for tonight. So you may hear a little bit of that in the background, but you know what? That makes it even more real. So Nigel, if you would, let my audience know a little bit more about you in that story of you launching your YouTube channels.
Yeah, so it's really ironic that I know everyone had that situation in 2020, but before any of that even happened, I had decided to go all in with YouTube. All growing up my whole life, I always had that personality. I've always been an actor on stage. I started that when I was younger, and then that kind of snowballed into doing drag in my 20s. And everyone just always told me, you have the personality for YouTube. Why are you not on YouTube? What's your YouTube channel link? And I heard that my whole life, and I just never believed in it until that year, 2020. And I decided, let me try this. And what I ended up doing was to snowball off of my drag experience on stage. I ended up recording my own music. I became a producer and I started releasing music. And once I released my first song, I realized I wanted a really loud, fun music video to go with the song. And I created the music video in my room, made the song, and I realized the music video needed a home, and YouTube is the only place for that. So I uploaded my first music video to my channel, and I stared at the channel for a little bit, and I was just kind of like, I can do this. And the idea of variety channel came because I was interested in so many different things. So even taking all the different courses and learning so much, I was kind of told to niche down. I took a chance in making a variety channel because I wanted a place to put everything that I loved all in one area. So I went all in.
So a couple of things that really stand out to me when I go to your channel, which is Nigel Battle on YouTube. It's very aesthetically pleasing. Your channel banner looks fantastic. Everything is very themed. And just a heads up for you guys before you go visit his channel, he's now above the 55,000 subscriber mark. So he is killing it. He does music reactions, movie and TV reviews, personal vlogs, gaming, and a bunch more of just entertainment and educational stuff. So you decided to start the channels. What has been the biggest surprise since starting on YouTube? Like, what is something that, looking at it from like I guess you would say a 100-foot view, you would never think of, but now that you're in it, now that you're a creator, what has been something that has surprised you or shocked you about the journey?
You know what? The impact. And that was from day one. You know, there's so much fear instilled with YouTube. You always hear, and social media in general, you always hear the comments are so bad. There are so many trolls. It could be so harsh. And me looking for a place to just be myself, I was initially so scared of that. I was scared of what people would think of the way I sound, the way I looked, everything. But it ended up being the opposite. I realized through showing different videos and showing different things through my heart, it began to impact people. And I was getting the opposite of comments. I was getting, I can't wait to watch your channels. They're curing my depression. These are really helping my day. They're different things that just, I never thought in a million years that me just uploading, doing something that I love would change someone in such a positive way. And it blew my mind. And that's the most important and the exciting part that I didn't realize would happen, for sure.
It is amazing how open and just, I guess you would say with open arms, the YouTube community is. And it's just so cool to talk to people like you who, you know, had experience in entertainment and performing. And then you went to YouTube and you found this success. And it's just so fun to hear stories like yours. And so I can't wait to kind of dive into more of kind of what you do. So give my I already mentioned a couple of the bullet points that you mentioned on your channel as to what you do on your channel, but go even deeper. Like, what would one get if they subscribe to your channel or kind of stumbled upon the Nigel Battle YouTube channel?
Yeah, so you're gonna get a lot of Nigel Battle, and I say that just because I know a lot of people, as I said earlier, have that exact narrow down niche, and I really made it a point to make myself the niche. So it's my personality, it's my thoughts on music, my thoughts on movies, my thoughts on songs that I've written, my thoughts on video games, just anything that comes to my mind, and then as well as personal vlogs, because while I was having so much fun reacting to movies and music and showing my heart with all that, I also began to go through different personal things in my life, with relationships and YouTube and all different types of stuff. So that's when the personal vlogs came along. I thought to myself, I can't just keep giving great, amazing, fun content without letting them know what's happening in between, because the next reaction or the next movie review, my face might be different, my attitude might be different, and I owed my audience the reason why to that. And that's why the personal vlogs came in between, and that was another thing that left such an impact. I had lost a partner a little over a year ago, and being able to vent about that on YouTube was something that, again, brought so much impact to other people. There were so many people that it helped, and all I was doing was turning on the camera and sharing my feelings so that they were updated. And here I was actually helping people and just like changing lives, which I never expected.
I love that. I want to ask you now more about the technical aspect of YouTube. How did you learn how to edit videos, how to create thumbnails, how to do all of the nitty gritty stuff that it takes to be a YouTube creator?
Dusty, I went all in with every YouTube video I could find about YouTube. I really had to just teach myself from the ground up. And that was one of the most exciting parts, because I was very much that person who was like, oh, you don't have the right camera. Let's save up for a nice camera and then we'll start. Oh, let's get this computer and then we'll start. And then somewhere along all my YouTube training classes, I heard the beautiful words of someone saying, just start with your phone. Everything you need is in your pocket. And I really thought about who I was and what I was trying to do with my channel, in under the fact that I was trying to just put my personality, my thoughts, my vibes, my heart on this channel. And because I was trying to do that, that's when I realized my camera didn't matter, my mic didn't matter, my computer didn't matter. All I had to do was get the content up. And I started with my phone, and I'm still very much still on my phone. And one of my goals is to actually make it to 100,000 subscribers on my phone, just so I can say I did that, because I really want people to not let the technical side stop them from starting, because I took those years to say, let me wait till I get the best camera, because it could be so beautiful. Let me wait till I get the best mic, because I could sound X, Y, and Z. And I just cut that all out. And I just started with what I had.
And Nigel, at that point, you could have already had 10,000 subscribers. By the time you waited around, and so I'm so thankful that you didn't. And that's something that a lot of people do, right? Not only guests of the show, but people that I talk to, that I consult with. They tell me, man, I wanted to start this channel back in 2018. But I started in 2020 because I actually had time. And so, if you're thinking about it, do it. I know it takes some time, it takes some effort. I get all of that, but it's time to get out of your own way. And that's oftentimes what really stops us. And that's kind of where I want to transition to now. What have been the roadblocks, or not necessarily blocks, but the things that have slowed you down, or the things that have kind of you've stumbled upon that you're like, man, I wish I could get better at that, or I wish I could do this a little better?
You know, for the things that took a little harder, I always try to, look up more videos and study them harder. I would say just staying up to date with the changes of the algorithm, the SEO, just anything that's new within the YouTube creator world is hard to stay up with, because so many times I'm so passionate about my content and the videos that I'm doing that I'm just flying videos out and I'm not really paying attention to the changes that are being made behind the scenes. And those are really important changes, and they really can help trigger your content in a really good way if you pay attention to those things. So in the beginning, I wasn't more so up to date with a lot of stuff that was happening. So it was hard to keep up with it, especially with everything that I was trying to put on the channel. So I've just made it a point in today's day and age to make sure I stay up to date. I study what I need to study, and I put in the work behind the scenes because I believe in my content and I believe in my messages and everything that I do on here. So to do it and for it to not be seen full throttle, it kills me. So I always make sure I know everything I need to know. I'm up to date with all the changes within YouTube, and I just keep myself very knowledgeable.
I love that. I now want to ask you about monetization. I mean, you exploded through the threshold of requirements as to what you need to be monetized on YouTube. Can you talk about, you mentioned in your opening there, as far as you being a full-time content creator. So obviously you're monetizing and making money some way. So if you would, can you talk about your monetization journey on the channel and kind of how you're making money with your content?
Yeah, absolutely. So the monetization journey was very exciting, and of course, like most YouTubers, it was one of my first goals because it's such a milestone and it's so beautiful. And I will never forget the day where I saw that first little 2 cents or 3 cents being collected, and so many people will have an eye roll to that, or even to the $2 or $3 you could make months later. But to me, the fact that there was even that little money sign next to any video just completely blew my mind. And it never really mattered how much I made. It just mattered that I was making something. Because especially coming from being a performer, there's plenty of shows I've done full out live singing, dancing, and I never got a dime. It's just part of what you do in musical theater and in the drag world. It just is what it is. So to be at a time and place where we're rewarded for putting the things that we love online, it just blows my mind. And I made my monetization milestone, I want to say, um, maybe 6 months. It was very fast. It happened very fast. And I'll never forget that leap also of like you're hustling to get to the monetization status. And then once I got there and I was able to turn on the monetization, then things really kicked into gear because then it got even more exciting. I will say though, a lot of my subscribers really enjoy my reactions, and anyone out there who's interested in doing reactions as part of their channel or as a reaction channel should definitely know that the copyright on music does hold you back from earning ad revenue on those videos. But I do supplement that by keeping a Patreon with the people who really enjoy my reactions, and there they get kind of front of the line reaction suggestions, behind the scenes of all of my content. So I found different ways to supplement what gets taken away from YouTube.
So I'm very glad you mentioned that about reaction content. That was going to be my next set of couple questions is about reaction content. It's a big thing. If you're in the video game space, it's huge. I know I remember a few months back, actually longer than that, when the whole Johnny Depp trial was going on. There were so many YouTubers that blew up because they were reacting to what was going on. It's a big meta on YouTube where creators will react, and some people kind of look down on it. They frown upon it. I do not. I love reactionary content. Some of my favorite TikTokers, my wife and I love to watch these little short videos of these people reacting to folks cooking stuff and kind of overdubbing it with funny commentary. Can you talk about reaction content on YouTube and go even more in depth of the precautions that you need to put in place to make sure that you protect your channel and yourself and just everything in between, and maybe some pointers on how to do it the right way?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the reaction process, you are protected under the fair use policy. So if by some chance your video is blocked, and when I say blocked, I mean passed, you're already definitely going to be ineligible for monetization status. The fact that you're reacting to a song that's from another artist, you are already going to not be able to collect revenue on it. But to not have it blocked and still gain subscribers and still gain views, we dispute it under the fair use policy, which basically means we're changing it for entertainment value. So me adding my commentary, me adding my whole like analysis about a film or a song, that changes the video and makes it postable. And it's so crazy because I did not know about the reaction community until later. And so many people don't believe this, but I literally, in the process of trying to think about what would be good for my variety channel, I literally just thought to myself, oh, let me turn on, I'll never forget the first one I did. It was like a Britney Spears VMA reaction, because I was like, let me do a reaction to this because I want people to feel what I feel when I watch this, because that's one of the performance that I would watch to hype myself up my whole life before shows and before I wrote my own music. I was just very inspired by that, and I wanted to share that journey of me watching her with them. And when I uploaded it to the internet and I saw 20,000 other people doing the same thing, I had no idea that it was a world. And then that's when the comments started coming, asking for different other songs, different other artists, and it just kind of snowballed. And for me, it breaks my heart that it's under such an umbrella of like clout chasing, because I love music, I love movies, and my whole life is inspired from all different movies, all different songs, all different artists. And there's so much that I wouldn't be doing if I didn't hear certain songs, or if I didn't hear, or if I didn't watch certain movies. So when I'm sharing my experience of a movie or a song, it's directly coming from the heart for a reason. I would never just pick something to pick it. And unfortunately, there's this horrible stigma in the reaction community where there are certain artists that can get you more views than others, or you know, as you know, or if something's trending like the Johnny and Amber trial, it's quick, you hop on it quick and you can get your views that way. But the best way to go about it for anyone thinking about doing it, don't just do anything. Do something close to your heart, because your audience will know. And the reason why I was able to grow so quickly and gain the traction that I gained was because I was reacting directly from the heart with content that I believed in so much, and people could tell. And that's what my comments ended up being, was like, wow, like we can tell that this is in your heart. And people would actually say like they've never seen a reaction like mine, because it's just very genuine. And I'm proud of that. I don't see that a lot in the reaction community, so I like to be like a light in the community, if you will.
You know, it's so interesting when it comes to the world of reactionary content, right? Because you do have to be so careful. And you mentioned something in the opening of that answer I want you to kind of double down on, because I think some folks really don't understand this. You talk about if you add something to the video or to the original, it becomes yours, or it's able to be used under fair use. Can you go even deeper into that? Because I haven't had a reaction YouTube creator on in a very long time, and things have changed. So can you talk about what you've learned in order to do it the right way? I mean, is there not a gray area? That's what always concerns me and worries me.
I mean, it's almost like in a lot of ways it feels like common sense, because we are on this platform to create content, upload it, gain views, gain traction, possibly gain money. So if someone works really hard on a music video, spends thousands of dollars, and you take the music video and you upload it in full to your channel and post it, that's gotta feel wrong.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, so that's why changing I love the fact that that fair use policy is there in order to dispute the videos, because sometimes what end up happening is the YouTube AI, the computer within YouTube, is just marking it like, okay, we see that X, Y, and Z music video is in your video, and they're just going to mark it as bad. But it's up to you to dispute under the fair use policy, letting them know, hi, I've altered this video, I've changed the content in my own way, I've added full analysis, I've added full detail, you know what I mean? Like, you have to really make it your own, add that commentary. And there are some times where I don't do as much, because like I said, I am very much known for reacting from the heart. So there are reactions where I'm there beginning to end, not saying a word. And it's because you can see it in my face, you can see it in my eyes. And that is another way of changing the content. I'm still in the video, and then when it's over, I'm still adding that commentary, I'm still adding that analysis. So really just changing it as much as you can, and it should be natural. I don't know if there's any gray area, because it's like hard to say. Like, if you didn't do enough, you would think you would get in trouble. But I think just being in the video and adding anything on top of the original content will make it yours.
Yeah, it's interesting. I consult with a creator a young lady who does reactionary content on YouTube, and then she branched out to TikTok. She told me that early on she learned that a tactic, and tell me if this is something that you've ever done, is where she would post her reaction content as private, as a private video. She would understand and know that it would get flagged by the YouTube algorithm or robots or whatever you want to call it. And then she would go ahead and she would appeal, knowing that it would be okay. And then after that, she would make it public. Is that something that you've heard of?
Yes, that's something I'm very familiar with. So, that is something big with major music companies, and those are the people who end up blocking the videos and trying to get it down. The bigger the artist and the bigger the music company, the faster it'll get blocked. And when the computer within YouTube blocks it, if that dispute, once you put it in, if they don't answer back within 72 hours, they release the complaint. So that's when you go from blocked to unlisted. So it's in your best interest, for someone who's doing reaction videos. If you think it's going to be blocked, immediately put it as unlisted, because if you have it as public and then it gets blocked 2 hours later, it kind of messes up the whole the rollout process of a video, which to me is very important. I have a very strategic way that I launch videos, and that completely messes it up if you're blocked 2 hours later, or the worst is if it blocked in 2 o'clock in the morning when you're sleeping, and then you wake up and you realize that it's not, not being launched the way it should. So the way to get around that is what she did. Set it as unlisted, go through the dispute process, make sure it's good to go, and then release it. And it's usually around that 72-hour frame that it's all done, said and done. So it works out perfectly.
And something that I've always found interesting is that if you're one of these people, like the music video folks, I mean, some people are so big it doesn't matter. But like, let's say you make a video. I think of like 5-6 years ago, there was that lady on Facebook who created that Chewbacca video that went viral where she was laughing. Like, if you're her and you want to go viral, like, it only benefits you to have people react to your stuff. Now, obviously, some's going to be positive, some's going to be negative, but the old saying goes, right? Like, all press is good press. I mean, I don't think that's correct, but you get my point, right? Like, have you ever had anyone reach out to you that you've reacted to, saying, "Hey, thanks for doing that," or "Thanks for putting me out, out there"? I would think that a lot of these folks would be thankful for that.
Yeah, I've had some pretty cool experiences. One of the lead singers of a band called Falling in Reverse, very huge band, amazing, high-end, expensive music videos. He sat on his YouTube live one day and was just watching reactions. And all of my subscribers were messaging me to let me know that he saw it, and I actually have a clip of him reacting to my reaction. So he very much enjoyed it. Also, I had the opportunity of Todrick Hall, another YouTuber and music artist who really inspired my whole journey, which made this very much full circle. I did a reaction to one of his music videos, and he actually reached out to me via Instagram, and we were able to build a connection and a friendship, and now I see him as a friend. He came on tour into my area and just invited me backstage. Nothing fan-y at all. It was very just kicking it backstage. Just, he's a very normal person, and that really was something that was beautiful for me, because it kind of took down that wall of looking up to someone I inspired, and I just got to see him as a normal person and ask my nerdy YouTube questions and music questions for him. And yeah, it was an honor. So you never know who's going to end up watching, or if you're going to build a friendship from that, or what's going to happen. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it gets weird in the reaction community. I'm not a part of it, but when you start having folks reacting to the reactions of the reactions, it's like, man, I'm losing track of what's going on here. But it's definitely a big part of it. All right, I want to ask you this. I love looking back. I love kind of seeing my failures in my journey as an entrepreneur and as a YouTube creator, and I always love asking this question. What is something that you look at now that you wish you would have known sooner? Something that you're like, man, I just wish I would have known that sooner. I could have been even more successful than I am now.
You know what? Probably just, I really, so I was able to let the tech stuff go over my head, but the one thing that I didn't give myself up on was the editing. Attending so many of the seminars and classes on YouTube and learning from so many different coaches, that was the one thing I thought was so necessary, to have these heavy, funny edits. And again, I had to grow with my channel and grow with my confidence. And I really began to realize, like, for the most part, I'm good as it is. Like, I don't really need to sit here and edit myself to be funnier or edit myself to look like X, Y, and Z. I just like to turn on the camera, give it to them as raw as possible, and then let that be what it is. And in the beginning, I took the time to, I guess, in a way, like, over edit and make myself look like the other YouTube videos that I saw on YouTube because I thought that's how it had to be done. And yeah, coming now to where I am now, I just know that sometimes you are enough as it is. You know, your words are enough as it is. The way you act on camera is enough as it is. Does editing make things better? Yeah, sometimes, but it's also nice to kind of just shake it up and have things be a little bit raw and personal. Like a lot of my subscribers love that. I kind of go from a beginning to end process, and specifically like with the reactions, a lot of reactionaries they pause. They do a lot of things that I don't do. I'm a very like beginning to end non-cut type of person with some of my content. I still do editing for when it's necessary, but I try not to.
Man, I love that. It's, you know, realizing that what you have to offer, not getting that imposter syndrome of someone's already doing it. So, you know, my wife and I had this conversation a couple of weeks back about, you know, understanding that what you bring to the table, although similar to what someone may bring, is going to be still your unique take on it. And I just absolutely love that. And the answer that you gave is such a good answer.
Thank you.
The closing question I like to ask before we start sharing where we can kind of get in touch with you on the internet is this. What have you learned about yourself personally as a creator through the past couple of years growing your channel? Maybe something that you didn't realize about yourself.
Oh my gosh, I just got like my eyes like just welled up by you saying that, because I've learned so much and I'm so grateful of this journey. And even just being here talking with you, everything becomes such a full circle moment because I've listened to so many of these interviews and to so many different creators, and I've challenged myself in ways that I never thought I could, and I raised the bar higher and higher on myself every day. And I really went from a place of not knowing who I was and what I was capable of doing until I started this channel. And I really have to thank, you know, my audience because they were the ones who would say, hey, why don't you do this? Or, hey, if you like theater, why don't you throw up a song of you singing? Why don't you throw up one of your performances? Like, they would ask for more of me. They would ask for more different variations of content. And it would make me look in the mirror and say, can I do this? And a lot of the times the answer was yes. And not only yes, but I would smash it. So I really just enjoy setting the bar higher and higher for myself, raising up that confidence. And it's just taught me so much about life and balance and who's there for me and who believes in me. And it just, everything. YouTube, this whole journey has just completely changed my whole life. And I'm just so grateful for it.
Well, Nigel, I'm grateful for you joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I said that was the last question, but I want to ask you this. What are you looking to do in the future? Like, what are your plans, short term, long term? It doesn't matter. Like, what are you looking to do?
Dusty, absolutely everything. If this channel has showed me anything, it's exactly that, is that I'm capable of so much more than I dreamed of. And I look up to so many of the other creators who were able to cross over into doing, you know, bigger stage productions and more music. And even I know a couple who have crossed over to doing a little Netflix gig here and there on TV. I mean, anything is literally possible. I would love to get into hosting. I would love to get into acting more and more. I would love to do more music and travel more and just grow my audience and find people who love me for who I am. There's nothing that I would be opposed to doing. I think that we're living in a world right now where all this is so new and a lot of the opportunities were not available 10, 15 years ago. And I think that's what keeps me saying yes to so many things, is that this position that I'm in was not a position a lot of people like me had the option to be in. So when I do this, I do it for the people in my community who never got the chance to be themselves and reach outside of YouTube or outside of their channels. There's so much more for all of us to try to do, and I don't think there's anything that I would try not to do. So everything is on the plate: acting, movies, television. I mean, I'm in for it all. So I'm in for the long haul.
I love that. Well, thank you so much again. And you can find him on the internet over on YouTube. It is Nigel Battle, NIGEL over on YouTube. He also has another channel, Nigel Battle Creator Coach. He's doing all kind of stuff over there, and at Princess Pudding over on Instagram. And all of this information will be in the show notes of this week's episode. Nigel, thank you again, my friend, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much.